Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. I trust you had a great weekend. We chased the moon in the early hours, but did not have a blood moon, but it was pretty grand early in the morning. Kenya, from a purely operational point of view, if the toll remains as it is almost a miracle. We know how complicated it is, even with exceptionally trained people. This is a report in Agence France Presse, saying that Kenya's security response to the Islamist assault on the Dusit Hotel shows the numerous lessons learned since a chaotic intervention when the Westgate Mall was attacked in 2013. Swift reactions, single chain of command, site rapidly cordoned off, procedures put in place to deal with survivors have received widespread praise in the aftermath of the assault. It was an operation which appeared well executed, said a regional security analyst. From a purely operational point of view, if the toll remains as it is almost a miracle. We know how complicated it is, even with exceptionally well-trained people. Across the spectrum, we've seen greater seriousness in all aspects of counterterrorism, both prevention and response since Westgate, said Matt Bryden. And indeed, I think that's clearly the case. In both cases, it was plainclothes police officers and armed civilians, mostly from the Indian community, who were the first to intervene and help rescue those caught inside. At Dusit D2, a number of heavily armed Westerners from private security companies and members of diplomatic security were also present from the start. I hope that all the folks who lost their lives, that their souls rest in peace. And you know, this is not a pleasant situation by any stretch of the imagination, but clearly the reaction was far better than we saw at the time of Westgate. Since we know that they've been trying, I think it was inevitable that at some time, some point, they could find a gap. Let's move on. Citon put out a weekly report, and there's a lot of interesting data about Kenya in that, which I'd like to share. Credit extension to the private sector has remained below 5% and below the 5-year average of 12.4%. You can see that in this graph. Kenya shilling has appreciated against the dollar by 0.1% year to date. Yields on the 10 and 30-year Euro bonds declined to 7.9% and 9% respectively. It said one of my trades of the year was to buy that 30-year Euro bond. It was then at 9.8%, put 50% leverage on it. My reasons, I gave you my reasons previously. Nairobi all shares up 3.45% year to date. There was a strong week last week. The all share was up 1.9%, NASI 20 2.1%, NASI 25 2.7%. NASI is currently trading at a PE ratio of 11.8 and a dividend yield of 5%. NASI 20 is up 0.63% year to date. Safaricom, market cap $9.336 billion, price earnings ratio 17.174. Citibank upgraded Safaricom. They say we see an opportunity for M-Pesa revenue growth in full year 19 to full year 24 to double from our base case assumption. M-Pesa revenue is at 35.52 billion at the half-year mark, up 18.2%. A 12.5% decline in free on-board price of Murban crude lifted in December 2018 saw a sharp fall in the price of fuel at the pump. This is our single biggest expense item in Kenya and why the shilling remains firm at the moment. Barclays' mobile application Timiza has seen its loan applications rise to 10,000 applications per day from 5,000. And you know, this whole area of digital banking got such a big boost from the rate cap, and Citon have got a great analysis of Equity Bank's Easy App, Equity's Easy Biz, Equitel, KCB M-Pesa, Cooperative Bank's M-Co-op Cash, HF Group's HF Wiz. We maintain our view that continued focus and increased adoption of these alternative channels will continue to see banks increase their NFI, which contributed 34.5% of total operating income at Q3 last year, an increase from 33.3% in Q3 2017. Barclays market cap is $622.196 million. Price earnings ratio trailing 9.47. Thank you for stopping by.